Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you're at. Welcome to Match Day. I'm Vince. We got Ian. Today we're going to continue with our Manager Monday little scenarios. There'll be an interactive poll that you can join. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Thank you to all the first and responders and our essential workers. Thank you. And because you're everything right now. And it's good that you're getting the headlines as opposed to like the LeBron Jameses of the world. So just want to say we basically will show a scenario. We have 3 scenarios like we did last week. And I will kind of describe it, and Coach Barker will give his insight. But we also want people to engage, the few of you that are on. So. And by the way, these are going to be, I think you might be able to access it through this portal on the files. I'm not sure, though. I've never done that before. But and I'm also going to upload these in our online resource library as well. So, Coach Barker, you ready to get started?
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right. Good. All right. Okay. So I'm going to put the poll up. Start the poll. Or should I explain it first, Coach? Which one?
The poll's up, so let's explain it because they can get to the poll as soon as they make their decision.
Okay. All right. So the situation is, as you can see here, the ball is in. Let me get my whiteboard on. So the ball is in the middle third, just beyond the attacking, just in the attacking half. Ball gets played into the 9. You can question that decision, but it was played into the 9. So now what? So should the 9 spin out, which is 1, right? Does it kind of receive the ball with their outside of the foot maybe and spin out, try and get a shot on goal with maybe their left foot, play the ball out wide, but behind the back to assume maybe this player is running on. Play the ball maybe back to a 10, that's number 3. And the last one would be maybe it's more like retaining possession, playing the ball out wide, but in front of the left back. So, so we'll go ahead and start the poll. See what people say. And Coach Barker, we'll see if anybody's interacting.
Yeah. So I like the interior pass. That seems like a reasonable pass to make. I'm not completely sure why I would turn and go in here because I'm turning on the outside of the 2 center backs, but I've lost most of my support. So I'm not sure about number 1. Let me see. I'm going to pull my arrow back up. 3 to me suggests that I'm not quite sure. You bring more people in, so you bring more support. You delay the attack, and 3 does look like they've got a little bit of space. So I'm okay with choice 3. Choice 4, don't see that one. The one for me, which is not the most popular. So thank you for our small audience. I appreciate that. But I think I should be able to turn the ball there because this player has come upfield.
Yep.
And if I can get the ball into it says the most popular one. The second choice, I've now got the ball behind the opposing back line. I can now split the defenders, get in here. This guy can get in. This guy can get in. So for me, 2 looks good. I appreciate the couple of people that liked 1 because you're probably Barcelona fans, and that's great. But I'm eating 2 potatoes, so I'm going to go with choice number 2 on this one.
Yeah, I think when I was doing this, I was thinking about putting the right back deeper, right? So the ball couldn't be played behind them.
Yeah.
But I thought, no, let's give this one because let's see what happens. And I also drew a little arrow on that right back to indicate that, that they're going to close down. So, but no, I think that one of all the options for me, that's the best decision for me. Although nothing wrong with number 1 either, nothing wrong with number 3 either. and definitely 4. I mean, even 4 is not the best decision, but at least you keep possession. So,
Well, if you bump in here and bump out there, obviously the red attention, the opposing attention comes to that ball that's been played back in the midfield,
yep,
which does allow players to release.
yep,
So I'm quite partial to number 3 as well.
yep. Good. All right. So shall we move on?
Let's do it.
Okay. Okay. Let me turn off my whiteboard. Sorry about that. All right. So here's the situation. The ball is on the right center back, or the 4. So let me put my whiteboard back on. Just a little short pass, right? A little safe pass to the outside back, to the right back. Turn, recycle, and play it to the keeper. All right, turn back. Play a long ball over the top, right? Or try and thread the needle and get it in there. So I'll start the poll, and we'll see what people think. So
the poll's up there, so we're good.
Oh, okay.
So, I've got the squiggly line. I like the straight line. Excuse me. very anal about the lines. I like straight lines. So that's a reasonable pass. Not quite sure why we didn't just go there in the first place, but we went to the centre back.
Yep.
So the centre back and then on to the right back. That's good that we've developed. We're almost at the halfway line. We're not under a ton of pressure. That seems very, very reasonable. Choice 1. I don't think there's anywhere near enough pressure on the centre back to need to go back to 2. And there's no indication on the arrows that we've shifted the red team anyway. So I don't see why I would do 2. I like this pass a lot because it breaks a line and it gets us, beyond not only the striker line, but some of the midfielders. I'd be concerned about the proximity of this defender.
Yep.
But that might be intentional. But I like that number 4 option. Obviously, if we have the technical ability to play this ball perhaps in the air across their midfield, this guy's opportunity to get to goal, get behind them based on the proximity of this defender looks the most devastating, the one that will hurt the opponent the most. So if I was a kind of a risk reward going with high risk or good risk with good reward, I'd go 3. I think if I was, so for me, this is one option, this is the other option, and I'm going to go, because I have a sweet right foot and I played right center back, I'm going to go with number 3 on this one. Now I'm going to look at the poll.
Yeah, no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they said 3, 40%. 40% said the short pass. 2 said play back to the keeper. Maybe they're a keeper, right? And they want touches on the ball.
Yeah.
Or 4, thread the needle and get it into the center mid. So I'll throw, and I almost did when I was creating this scenario, throw out a scenario. So for example, the score is 1-1. It's in the second half. Does that change the decision?
Yep. I'd be interested, whoever voted for the second choice, if you want to type in the chat box what your thinking was, because it's always good to understand. So for example, if the ball's been played and we showed movement here and here and here and here and here and here, I could make the case the red team have flooded the side, so we quickly go back and go out. I would love that. Yeah. But if somebody maybe did vote for, tell me why. Let's see.
This is Neil.
Oh, it's what they want their young players doing. Our keepers aren't going to get us any more forward. They aren't able to go over the top, thread the pass to 8. Oh, okay. Absolutely. Right. So the idea being that the technical ability of your players, that thread pass would maybe be too much for you. So you'd like to see if you can swing it around the back. Yeah, absolutely. Horses for courses. Very good.
Yeah, no, that's the other part of it, right? I mean, we're assuming this is 11-a-side because I put it on an 11-a-side field and I have 11 players, but I should have made that clear. But, are they, is it like, is it an elite level, like college level, or is it like, junior high type kids, 14-year-old kids? So no, there's lots of scenarios. And obviously, if you're up 1-0, it's in the second half. Does that change it? If you're down 1-0, so does that change it? So I just thought I'd put this up here just to give that. But maybe next week we can do some more like scenarios, right?
Well, I think actually it's a good idea. So if coaches on the call would like these decks, Vince will share them with you.
Yep.
And when you share them with your players, maybe you share them initially and then you share them and say, okay, red is 1-0 up.
Yeah.
Or blue is they have to win this game to win the league and it's 0-0 with 10 minutes. So you create a little extra scenario which would further the debate for sure.
Yes. Good. All right. Awesome. Let's let's go on the next one.
Yep.
And so here's the last one. So this is more of a mobility question, just about the 9's mobility. And I see this quite a bit in youth soccer. The 9 a lot of times doesn't know where to go, right? They don't know when to run, how to run or whatever. So the situation is looks like the 8 or the center midfielder, you can argue it's a 6. Someone's dribbling and they're breaking the line. So should the 9 one just kind of slip over kind of to the center back, 2 just make that run away, right? And maybe we open up more space here in the middle. 3 kind of duck back in here. It's almost like you're screening this player, but can't do that really. Or 4, just see what plays out, right? So just see what happens. Maybe you can do a little combination in here, but that'd be really tight. So let me. I
set the poll up.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So my thoughts would be, I like 1 because by moving there, you require a decision now out of the center back. Maybe they have to step up. They're probably not going to track, but you've compromised the center back. It's a little easier when they're marking you. So you've cleared some space for your teammate dribbling, and you've also got, if you get yourself here, now you've got more sight back to the development of the action. So I kind of like 1. Now that I understand that, I like that. For me, losing my center forward out here and potentially killing the space of my left winger, excuse me, don't like 2. If I'm Liverpool and I've got Firmino and I check in here, and then I've got Sane and Salah and all kinds of people running behind me. So that's false number 9. Yeah. If you're going to play with a false number 9, but that's very sophisticated, I think, for youth players.
Yeah.
Again, if I've got an intelligent player holding this space, engaging the 2 center backs, the 4th option could be really nice. But what happens is, I think we all know in youth soccer, is often this player will get to about here, and now the 2 of them are so close together, and you've just compacted the playing space. So I think at a youth level, the one that makes the most sense to me would actually be number 1, which is the most popular one of our audience. And I'm guessing the majority of our audience today is probably more in the youth space, because we talked about some U13s and 14s. So I think 1 for a good youth level team would be where I would go.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I threw 2 in because I'm like, well, I see that run a lot, and I see high school. I used to, when I was a high school coach, I used to hear high school coaches tell the forwards to run out to the flank or the center forward. And to me, I'm like, okay, I didn't know, but someone did answer 2, and I just like to know why. So I'm assuming it's Brian. He says he likes the space. This creates in a 1v1 for the 9. Number 2 tends to be difficult because the 9 tends to receive the ball away from the goal. I agree with that. That I agree with. That's your typical American type pass, right? Play the ball down the line, and unfortunately, Brian says he does not like to, which is clear. We got it. And I think I threw that one because I see it a lot for some reason. So for me, the cue is it's getting players to recognize cues. We know that, right? Mobility is all about, in my opinion, pressure or lack of pressure on the ball, right? If there's pressure on the ball, that changes your mobility. If there's no pressure on the ball, that changes mobility. You increases it. So here, the situation, right? The players dribbling forward, but I see this a lot, right? Where's the 9 go? And so no, I think 1 for me is a better option because there's a lot of possibilities I think that can happen. So, but the main thing is getting your players to recognize when to move. So, and where. But all right.
It's interesting you mentioned mobility as the challenges of mobility based on the pressure on the ball. So what I find ourselves coming back to, which is traditional and standard for you and me, is our principles of play. And from my perspective, those of you that are joining us today and have joined us in other ones or are interested, principles of play. I don't know any better way to give you the broad framework of how to resolve some of these challenges for the players in possession or out of possession. And then you can get into all these sub-principles and little nuances. But if you've got the principles of play down, then I think you can really understand it. So I'm glad you mentioned it again.
Yeah. No, I mean, to me, there's 5 attacking, 5 defending primary ones. And then after that, everything kind of spins off those. But thank you to
there from Paul as well. Sorry. So Paul, just in response to Paul's question, what are some of the cues for when to move? So if the player moving with the ball has got their head down, I would be preparing to move, but quite cautiously, because I want them to get their head up to acknowledge my movement. I don't then for me to get the head up and I'm already moving away and they can't see me. So first of all, the delivery opportunity of the player in possession would be the first thing. And then obviously what is the reaction to the defenders? So as the defenders move and create gaps, might encourage my movement. The only time I would probably move well in advance is if I'm being what I call a Velcro player. So I'm actually intentionally picking up the defender to try to move the defender with me. So that might mean my run is a little earlier because I'm actually not looking to get the ball. I'm looking to move the defender. But if I'm looking to get the ball myself, it's timed off of the potential delivery of the teammate.
Yeah. So if we go back a slide. So for me here, right, the center back doesn't have pressure on them really. I mean, a little bit token from the 9. A little bit of pressure, right from this player, maybe you can argue, but there's not a lot of pressure. So it allows the rest of the team to spread out. It allows them to try and find some gaps in between. It allows, for example, maybe this player here to move forward. Sorry, let me do the straight line. So, right. But there's lots of possibilities when there's no pressure on the ball. When there's pressure on the ball, so if this 9 all of a sudden comes here, well, that changes this player's movement. That changes everybody's movement. Now you can't lose the ball there, right? So pressure a lot of times dictates mobility, and that's why like Barcelona is so fun to watch because they play so quick that people can't get pressure on the ball. So they're able to move. And so the mobility is there. But I mean, if there's one thing to get young players, even 10-year-olds, to understand is when your teammate has pressure, come and help. When your teammate doesn't have pressure, okay, now we can move and now we can run into space. So just something simple that I picked up from one of my mentors, Mike Parsons, many, many years ago. So, well, good. Well, we have gone over time. This afternoon, we've got, let me stop this slide. This afternoon, we have 2 Missouri ODP coaches, Jeff Murr, who actually runs Missouri Youth Soccer ODP, and Mike Quante, who he and I did our B license together. So he actually works on Jeff's staff. They're going to talk about things they're doing with their ODP players during this time of isolation and tactical awareness training for their state ODP players. So it will be a little bit longer, just for those that want to come back on. But thank you all so much, and thanks, Coach, thanks for helping. So,
cheers, guys. Good soccer one at 3 o'clock. So come back and join us for more tactical thoughts. Bye bye.
Thanks, everybody.